Matt Stepp, Dave Campbell's Texas football here at the Texas High School Coaches Association Convention in beautiful Houston, Texas. Here at the Built with Chocolate Milk Coaches Lounge, and we are joined by the second-year head coach of the Katy Seven Lakes Spartans, Coach Jimmy Hamon. Coach, I appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, Coach, you're entering your second year at Seven Lakes, and I'm guessing your head is not spinning quite as much. First-year head coach, you're at a new school. You're trying to learn your kids. You're trying to kind of figure things out, and you're getting pulled in a million directions. How much more calm are you here at coaching school this year, and how much maybe more productive the offseason has been because you guys kind of have things in place now?
Well, not only was being a first-year head coach something different for me coming here, but also coming from a different school district, just trying to decide trying to figure out really how Katy ISD does things, and how it might be a neighboring school district I was coming from in Fort Bend, but just operation-wise a whole lot different. So figuring out how to spend a little money, how to get guys hired, that sort of thing was different for me. This year a whole lot better. I felt like I could actually coach a little football now, and coming into coaching school with a list of vendors that I need to go see and talk to, whereas last year I was just kind of trying to take it all in of, well, what do we have on campus? What do we need? What do we not need? I'm not even sure yet. So it's just a whole lot. Like you were talking about head spinning, it doesn't feel like that at all this year.
You got a list, and you're just kind of working through it, right?
Absolutely.
And of course, you had Dave Campbell's Texas
Absolutely.
football on the list,
I knew I was going to have to come by here. Always got to get a magazine.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you promoting your kids and sending us your information. We appreciate you because you were early turning your questionnaire in. We love the coaches who turn the questionnaires.
Well, I don't
early.
want to be the guy that gets called out on Twitter for not turning their stuff in. But no, your guys love to see their names in the print. So wanted to make sure
That's right. Print media is not dead, Coach.
It is not.
There you go. Well, let's look ahead to 2019, and we were talking off camera about your district and the challenges that it presents. It's not an easy district. Katy ISD is very competitive across the board. Everyone knows about Katy. Obviously, they're the bell cow of the district, and rightfully so. They've Coach Joseph's done a lot of great things, but the football in Katy ISD 1 through 7 is really tough. There's no easy games, and your district presents unique challenges every week for your kids, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, I think everybody around the state knows about the Katy Tigers. But since then, you've had some shakeup a little bit. You have Tompkins that had a really, really good year last year, and that with a lot of guys coming back on both sides of the ball. So, they're looking strong right now. Taylor's always solid. The linemen that they have, offensive linemen, and how strong they were defensively last year makes it tough. I could go down the list and tell you what I think about every single one of them, but even the team like Maid Creek, who might not have won the district game, but they gave us a run for our money, and we're a playoff team. We only beat them 35-28 last year, so anybody can beat anybody on any given day, and I know that's maybe cliche, but it feels a little more apropos in our district because, we lost to Morton Ranch last year, and that was going to be a big one for us. And coming in, they were 0-4 in district. Coming in to play us, they beat us, and then they beat Maid Creek right after us, and they were probably the best 2-4 district team that I had played. So you just got to come with your A game every single night.
And scheduling can be a challenge as well because you could play a Saturday game, you could play a Thursday game, so you could have to play somebody on a short week. That really makes that weekly preparation tough. And I know you were in Fort Bend and kind of similar things in Fort Bend. When you have that rare Saturday Thursday turnaround, I know coaches hate it, but how do you kind of condense everything down from a preparation standpoint?
Luckily, I haven't faced that in any of my years coaching. We were actually about to get in that situation between week 3 and week 4. We were originally scheduled for a Saturday game against Fort Bend Austin in week 3, and then Houston ISD, we played Houston Heights week 4, and they put us on a Thursday. So they worked their magic to let us go Friday, Thursday, but even that's a little tougher. So, you got to work a little harder on the weekend to make sure you're ready to go on Monday. And I think, for the kids, it's a little bit different too. It's different playing on a different night of the week. I think also that your schedule, like you were talking about, condenses, and that makes you have to do things during the athletic period that maybe you don't normally have to do during the athletic period. Makes you work the day before the game, and that might be a little bit different for you because you can't afford not to practice on – well, we can't afford not to practice on Wednesday when we have a Thursday game. So we're lucky only to have 2 this year. But sometimes that's better than those Saturday at noon and August games, though.
Yeah, nobody likes those, right?
No,
Nobody likes those.
Not at all.
Well, when we look ahead to your ball club, like I said, you got some continuity. You're in your second year. What kind of team do you expect to see when you take the field? What's the personality of the Spartans going to be?
Last year, I think we had, there was a new offense going in, a new defense going in. We had a few new coaches coming in, a new head coach. So I really had to focus on the global aspect of things. And this year, we're going to talk about the details matter, and that's going to be what we focus on. If we're supposed to run a 12-yard route, make sure we're running a 12-yard route, not 11. If we're supposed to fit in the C gap, make sure we're fitting in the C gap on defense. So details are going to matter because we've been in our, now 2 springs and a fall, and so we've been in our schemes now long enough to where we should know the basics in and out. So we're going to try to really focus on the details and really talk about details matter for us on both sides of the ball. So I hope that you're going to see a more disciplined team. Not that we weren't last year, but I'm talking more schematically a little bit more disciplined. The kind of team that's going to play hard from whistle to whistle. And I feel like we did those things, but when you're not having to worry about, because you understand the offense and defense, you can focus on some of those underlying smaller details.
Because the other stuff's muscle memory, right?
Exactly.
You already know where you're supposed to be
Exactly.
on the foundations, right?
Exactly. I think last year was foundational, whereas this year we're going to try to focus a little bit more on the details.
Now we were talking about playing on different nights, and because Katy has 7 high schools and 2 stadiums, or 8 high schools now and 2 stadiums. I'll tell you what, Legacy Stadium is one of the nicest stadiums I've ever been in. And I haven't been in the locker rooms or anything, but how nice of a place is that? It's
beautiful. I tell you, when I was at Ridge Point, we had some good runs there, and we got to play in 2015. Got to play in a lot of different stadiums. We got to play at U of H, NRG a couple times, in the Alamo Dome, and we played at Legacy. And the next year we got to play at Legacy. And I'll say, for as far as a visitor at that time, I don't know that you got treated any better. It was a high school stadium. They let you have access to all of the amenities that they have. Now, as a home coach, we're getting the same treatment. Obviously, feels like yours, a little bit more so. But if you haven't seen the underneath the locker rooms, there's offensive coach's locker room. There's a defensive coach's locker room. There's training rooms underneath there. There's enough open space for your kids to spread out a little bit. Showers, facilities are really nice. Plus, it's brand new, and so you're not seeing any wear and tear. They just built it with a bigger football team in mind. Some of the older stadiums that you play in, the locker rooms,
they're built for 40 kids,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And this is built, obviously. I mean, you could easily fit 80 in there, and we're not that big, but you could easily do it. In a playoff roster, you're bringing a lot of kids in there. You don't feel cramped. You're walking right out. It almost feels like a tunnel as you walk out of there because you're walking almost from a decline up into the stadium, which, in Houston we don't really have that feeling much.
Yeah,
so it's kind of neat.
It's a cool place to cover a game from media perspective.
And I would say the press box areas for the coaches are huge.
Have your coaches bragged about the press box food up there a little bit?
They do. They do. They try not to tell us on the field what they're eating because we might get a little jealous.
Tell them to send some down, right? Maybe you're up by 40 one day and you go, hey, Coach, why don't you bring me down a sandwich, right?
I hope they be lucky like that one day.
All right, Coach. Well, before we let you go, we're going to have you spin the Dick's Sporting Goods Wheel of Questions.
All right.
And you got to answer truthfully and honestly here.
All right.
A lot of tough questions on here, so let's see what you land on. Oh, all right, Coach. We know you're a hip hop fan. Do you have a best hip hop album? A favorite hip hop album?
I'm actually not a hip hop fan very well, but in high school I did listen to. Gosh, I don't know. It's just because it probably wasn't. Honestly, probably the album was probably explicit most of the time, but I listened a little bit of Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg.
There you go. Okay.
So the Chronic was pretty good.
Yeah. That's a great album. That's an unbelievable album.
The newer rap music, hip hop.
These kids these days, I can't. Yeah, that's probably an old man thing, right? When you hear the kids talking and what are these kids talking about?
Of course, I'd
get
that one when I spun, but
well, it's all right. That's a classic album. I can get down with that.
All right, good.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your
Absolutely.
time. Congrats,
Thank you.
Congrats on the gig, and second year in the program. Good luck in 2019, and we appreciate what you do for student athletes in Texas.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.